So here we have Skywarp's jet mode, and let me just say, it is pretty damn impressive. All the parts fit together pretty nicely, and despite what you might think from his transformation, which is very loose and floppy, he comes together really tightly, and it doesn't feel like he's going to fall apart at all. Usually, it's robot modes that have all the gimmicks, and as I showed you, Skywarp has plenty of awesomeness in his robot mode. But even in jet mode, Skywarp has some pretty neat stuff to show off. First off, his stand turns sideways and flips around to accommodate his jet mode, so you can have him in a kind of taking off, setting down kind of position. But the tricks only start there. As you can see, I took his null rays off and they peg right into the base, and he's got those missiles that I pointed out earlier underneath his wings right there. But those also peg off, and you can put null rays there instead. So whatever your preference is, you can have it. And just so you don't lose the missiles, they can peg in where the null rays were on the base. So it's up to you. You can make any choice you'd like. You can have one or the other, or both, or none, or anything really. And the missiles are pretty nicely painted. They've got a band of yellow around the front and a band of red around the back. And the tips of them are painted in kind of a gunmetal gray, which gives them this great kind of look to them. Unlike the Takara version, which is painted in a lot of white and also, I believe, has the bands. In jet mode, you can more clearly see the Decepticon logos that I was talking about earlier. They're in this wonderful metallic paint, and it really just shines off of it without being extremely obvious. And the stripes, the lines along the wings look fantastic. I feel that his tail fins are a little bit too lavender, but that could just be me, and again, they carry on the metallic striping. Back here are his thrusters, which are all on ball joints, so you can turn them in just about any direction, which leads to a certain amount of posability in jet mode, which I really like. And leading off of the plane mechanics, his wing flaps can also tip in, and I don't believe outwards, but they can tip down, which is how you would make a nosedive, or, you know, just a slow landing. As you may or may not have just seen, his tail fins are very loosely attached, and this one just popped off with a brush of my hand, but it's okay because they pop right back on. Another nifty jet mode mechanic is a built-in air brake right there, and it has a die-cast piston rod that slides right up with it, and they have those on real airplanes, and they slow it down. And I thought that was a really nifty gimmick right there. He also has two more flaps on the back, which I'm not sure if they're more wind brakes or if they're so that, you know, mechanics can access the engine. But either way, I think that's pretty cool. They do flip out in robot mode, but they don't really have much purpose there, so I can only assume that they're for the jet. Around to the front, his nose cone actually pulls out a little bit and then swings. I didn't pull it out enough of a little bit. And then it swings out to the side like this, and that reveals his radar cone, which is actually a really nifty realistic touch right under there. And obviously you wouldn't do that in mid-flight, but it's a cool little runway bit. Also, his canopy opens up. Not only does it open up, but it has a molded seat right there. And he comes with a tiny little Dr. Arkville figure that fits perfectly in the cockpit. Maybe not so perfectly. Fits perfectly enough. And besides just the gimmick detail, this guy's got wonderful, just a magnificent mold. You can see different sheets of metal molded into it. You can see rivets and bolts in different parts, like in between here and along these lines up here. You can see, I guess it's probably like fuel tanks and little air vents and pieces of technology and all sorts of amazing molded detail. In the air intakes, you can see the fans, the turbines, and the jets. It looks pretty damn good in there too. This guy is just a marvel. And now, on top of all that, he also has landing gear, which is fairly common in airplane transformers, but he does it a bit differently. As you can see, there is almost no trace of landing gear anywhere. That's because it does what real airplanes do. It covers them up. So right here, got this little flap. It's pretty tight, and I have no thumbnails. There we go. But it flips right out. There's one on his other side. Flick. There we go. So those two fold out of there. And then on his nose, there's another bit right there that flips out, and then somehow this entire piece flips down, but I'm having trouble getting my... There we go. It flips out like that. And all of these wheels do roll, not on carpet. But it's a really nifty detail, and I love how they hide it up like a real plane would, so that it doesn't intrude with flight. So overall, I think Skywarp is a wonderful toy. He's extremely articulated, extremely well detailed. He's got gimmicks galore. His robot mode has got just articulation everywhere. And it's a really good value. So just for comparison, before I go, I'm going to give you a few different sizes to shape up with. So here we have first movie Leader Class Night Watch Prime, animated Sunstorm, classics or Universe Starscream, and the topic of next week's review, Armada Blur. Figure out why he's funky colors. Read our next review. This has been Static with the Vantage Point's first video review of Masterpiece Skywarp. Tune in next time.